Thank you for the opportunity to speak to this matter. I am here in support of the bill. This is a bill that will recognize a presumption of equal parental responsibility when mothers and fathers, through divorce or other unfortunate circumstances, must parent apart. Let me say at the outset that from our perspective, it makes no legal, developmental, emotional, nor economic sense for our legal system to presume, as it does, that a fractured bond between two parents should automatically sever or diminish the parent-child bond of the divorced spouse or separated parent. We don't understand why that presumption is made. That's what this piece of legislation is trying to address, the fact that that happens. This is a matter of huge importance for our troubled state. It affects 1 million cases annually, or about 35% of our entire population, mothers, fathers, and the children that they conceive together. Let me be honest and direct. In supporting House Bill 4564, I have come here to insist that the legislature fulfill its responsibility to its citizens by safeguarding marriage and family. I think by failing in that regard, that's what's brought us here to this particular topic. I see this legislation as an emergency measure, merely a starting point to save the children of Michigan and the future of our state from the relentless plague of brokenness amongst our families, our communities, our institutions, our economy, and the rule of law. As a healer for 27 years, an emergency physician who has tended my sick and wounded brothers and sisters in hospitals in Detroit, Pontiac, and Flint, in Oakland and Macomb suburbs, and in rural communities along the Thumb, I have witnessed Michigan's brokenness in all its raw and tragic nakedness. We can do much better. To treat effectively, relieve pain, and offer hope, you must get to the root cause. This is what the state must do. The root cause in Michigan is a battle between brokenness and fidelity. The healthiest way to rear our children is at home, with married parents living as one flesh and supported by relationships with fellow family and neighbors in a community connected by faith-based institutions, civic organizations, and thriving businesses. This is shared parenting in its finest form. This model should be incentivized and supported by our laws, government policies, and private enterprise. When mother and father parent apart, the best interests of children, their parents, the state, and all concerned are best met by safeguarding the bonds of love between each of the parents and their child. While this makes common sense and is supported by research, the court system does not respect the parent-child bond. This reality makes passage of this bill an essential safeguard for family and children. You may not like the truth I'm about to share with you right now, but I'm going to go into a little bit of history. In March 1971, Senator Daniel Cooper, an Oak Park attorney, with the recommendation of the Michigan Law Revision Committee, convinced our legislature at that time to opt for brokenness by introducing a bill to reverse 125 years of law safeguarding marriage and family. Senator Cooper said at the time, "We are simply trying to clean up our archaic law in view of modern relations with people." Now, the relationships that exist in family know no bonds of time. A family 2,000 years ago had very similar issues to a family today and how they related with one another. According to the Michigan Law Revision Commission at the time, the new statute would not increase the number of family breakdowns, but would merely provide for a more just and less traumatic procedure for legally terminating marriages which in fact are already dead. And that was the new no-fault bill. With bipartisan support, no-fault divorce was introduced with strong urging from leadership within the Bar Association. Without any scientific inquiry about how children, their parents, communities, institutions, and the economy would be affected, or any public debate, no-fault divorce was quickly voted into law by the House in May after being introduced in March, and in the Senate in June, and then signed by Governor Milliken in July. This breach of public fidelity substituted the institution of divorce for marriage and abandoned all safeguards for married persons, parents, and children. This radical law eliminated a married person's defense against a divorce suit. Regardless of circumstances and without exception, the state forces the breakup of every marriage upon the request of either party and without consideration for any harm this may cause to children or to the injured spouse. I have a handout here that lists 10 factors about no-fault divorce that demonstrates how it violates the U.S. Constitution, and I provided them for you. The purpose of this historical sojourn was to point to a root cause that has institutionalized brokenness in family and community life, in the conduct of our legal system and institutions, and indeed within our economy. We citizens of Michigan, through House Bill 4564, seek protection for our relationships with our children and the hope for a new relationship with our legislative leaders, one in which we may expect fidelity with the citizens and with the rule of law. Some will malign House Bill 4564 and our request for relief by misrepresenting the incidence of violent activity in families. Surely, violence is a symptom throughout our state, a clear manifestation that its root cause is in the breakup of families. The treatment, however, is to assure that children maintain their relationships with each parent and provide systemic treatment to families in crisis whenever possible. In these times, effective options for helping families to work through difficult times and remain whole are available. In closing, I request that this committee call House Bill 4564 for a vote in the very near future and embrace this legislation on behalf of our children and the future of our state. Moreover, I ask that you also quickly turn your attention to studying and approving House Bill 5761, a bill to limit no-fault divorce to couples who do not have minor children. Representatives and members of the Judiciary Committee, fellow family advocates and concerned citizens, let us dedicate ourselves to implementing safeguards for marriage and family and to reestablishing accountability and the rule of law in our institutions. Let us make Michigan a great and thriving state, a great place to raise a family, to grow a business, to spend a lifetime. Thank you for listening.